Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. Currently up in the sky, that ain't no moon. That's a Chinese warship hovering over your state. That's right. There is a giant balloon, a Chinese airship that is flying unencumbered over the continental United States, and our simp ass leaders in this nation are doing absolutely nothing about it. Communist eye in the sky?
Traffic, but officials are advising the president not to shoot it down over concerns that falling debris from this balloon could hurt people on the ground.
So here's what we think we know. The balloon entered...
First off, falling debris could hurt people on the ground. I mean, raise your hand if you would like the government to shoot this balloon down and would gladly stay inside in order for them to do that.
U.S. airspace a couple of days ago. It flew eastward into Montana.
Wait, so the balloon went through the Aleutian Islands in Alaska and has been hanging out over Alaska. So what the hell is this thing doing over Alaska? So this is, by the way, this balloon's been over the continental United States for the better part of a week.
It's not clear what it was doing there, but the state is home to one of 3 U.S. Air Force bases with intercontinental ballistic missiles.
So it's over Montana, huh? Interesting here. Montana ranks as state with most guns per household. Well, that's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Bozeman, Montana. Montana ranks first for gun ownership by household in the United States. 64% of adults living in a home with a firearm. Way to go, Montana. Perhaps you should shoot down this communist balloon. That's exactly what Ryan Zinke says. He is the congressman from Montana. Shoot it down, says Montana Representative Zinke, as he rips Biden administration for not taking out the Chinese balloon in his state. Donald Trump saying the same thing on Truth Social. Donald Trump, shoot down the balloon. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is yelling and screaming that, remember what they took from us. This isn't a real tweet, sadly, but it could be if Donald Trump were president. President Xi, sorry, not sorry to burst your bubble. But if you ever try and fly one of your cheap made-in-China balloons over the USA again, we will fly made-in-America fighter jets over Beijing. Carrie Lake saying, I'm told there's a balloon that needs to be taken care of. Carrie Lake with a shotgun in the middle of a field. And Paul Gosar, by the way, hopping in, saying, count me in. Paul Gosar, member of Congress from Arizona. I did a poll on Twitter. I said, would you personally pull the trigger and shoot down the Chinese spy aircraft over your state? The answer is yes. 5,000 people voted so far. I just put this up. 97% saying yes and 3% saying no, I'm a commie simp. Well, you know what? It is Twitter. Biden saying he'll shoot down Chinese spy balloon as soon as he's done letting it spy. This is the Babylon Bee. Something that isn't a joke is the member of Congress from the great state of Montana that houses a lot of nukes and 3 Air Force bases. And he joined our program earlier today. His name's Ryan Zinke. He's a total patriot. And he said that he would personally pull the trigger and that there would be people standing in line in order to do so in his state. Let me know what you think of this interview. People don't really understand that you do have one of the more bad biographies in all of Congress, and we are honored to have you on the program today because you are a war fighter. You are somebody who served this country. You're somebody who's probably very upset that the Chinese are able to fly a spy aircraft, a military aircraft over your state. And presumably the red carpet has been rolled out for them by the Biden administration. Your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, we should shoot it down. And this leads to this balloon, surveillance balloon or not, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, it got here somewhere, we presume, or we've been told, across the Aleutian chain. And then it goes across Montana, is hovering there. So it's been here a while. And look, if we can't shoot down a balloon, which we should, then how can we defend Taiwan? So number one is the administration came back on our briefing last night and said, well, we didn't shoot it down because of our chance of civilian casualties from the debris field. One, I've been to the Aleutian chain as a SEAL. I can tell you there's not a lot out there. And I can tell you in Roosevelt County in Montana, it's the least populated county in the lower 48. And I would say almost all the residents of Roosevelt County would love to shoot it down themselves. So they would love that thing to be shot down over Roosevelt County. But it leads to a couple things. Number one is, what was their response? They tried to, as their playbook, blame it on Trump. Oh, this has happened under other administrations, but China is a lot different today than they were even during the Trump administration. Obviously, they've increased their aggressive position. They are threatening Taiwan. They are moved into critical minerals. So China is flexing and remains the aggressor. Secondly, the debris field that somehow this would constitute a threat was also, not accurate, because again, the Aleutian chain in Roosevelt County. And lastly, they said, well, it's nothing to worry about, because they can't collect any intelligence they can't collect through other means, either satellites or human and those sources. And that's not correct either, because what they observed is, what was our response? Again, when did we pick up the balloon? Was a combatant commander informed as it went to the U.S.? What's the chain of command? When did it go to the National Command Authority? And did we act? And the bottom line, Benny, is we did nothing. And that's the same scenarios as Afghanistan. We showed weakness in Afghanistan, and that debacle, I think, led to a green light for Putin. Now we're in a war with Ukraine without any idea how to get out of it. By the way, I love John F. Kennedy, or we'll pay any price for freedom. However, blank checks, no way. You can't give a blank check to anybody, because this is on the backs of the U.S. taxpayers. What's the plan? And then lastly, with China, I think this was, while some people would say this is much ado about nothing, I would say, once again, it shows our ineptitude of action.
So, two things I would like to drill down on here. One, this didn't just appear. This balloon has been traveling over the continental United States for quite a while. So why are we just hearing about it now? Secondarily, there is a large group of people who appreciate the Second Amendment in your state. Do you think that somebody in your state will just take matters into their own hands and shoot it down themselves?
Well, I answer the first, you're exactly right, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Our job is to get the Department of Defense over here and find out what the truth is. When did you discover it? At what point was the procedure? Did it combat command? Or were you authorized to fire? All those things, some of the secret level, we'll get to the bottom of it, because that's our job. Secondly, I am sure the great state of Montana, there's probably some barn out there that has something capable of knocking this thing down. But, in the Chinese response, it was interesting to look at that. They said, well, this is, calm down. They said, this is it. We have limited steering capability on this, and it's a balloon, so I accept that. But look, if the Chinese can't deflate it, I think we ought to deflate it for them.
I mean, I think that the vast majority of people in your state would agree. And I think that the vast majority of people in your state would say, I don't care if this thing hits my barn. I want it down. I don't want it hovering over our nuclear silos. And there are multiple Air Force bases that have, high capacity capabilities inside of your state. Am I correct on that?
Well, there are. Montana enjoys to be part of the triad. So we have ground-based missile defense systems. I agree to the degree that the Defense Department would say you're not going to gain anything on those specific sites from the flyover, although they could. Their technology is improving. But I think that the biggest asset's what's our response. How long do we see it come in? Did we do anything? In this case, it doesn't seem like we're doing anything. So, again, I'm for shooting it down. We should have shot it down a long time ago. And look, if it was an errant balloon and it wasn't controlled, then diplomatically they would have informed us. We would have looked at it. We maybe would have escorted it or helped them deflate it. But I don't think the good state of Montana, the citizens want that Chinese communist balloon overhead, and America should not put up with it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, truly, and I think that you should say the first Montanan to shoot this down gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That person would be a hero.
Well, I'll tell you, if I could, I'd go back to Montana and pull the trigger. But unfortunately, in my barn, I don't have anything to reset for. But I think in seriousness, it needs once again. The biggest thing is that look, if we can't handle balloon, how do you think we can handle the Chinese, invading Taiwan or put an adequate check on their aggression? And look, in China, not only militarily, well, look, China is the largest violator of fishing, so they do illegal fishing all over. If you're an environmentalist, 90% of the plastics in the ocean come from 4 rivers in China. So there's islands out there in the Pacific that are 800 kilometers, and it's all made in China. So China has not been our friend, and this is just another poke in the eye. And look, if they poke us in the eye, I think we need to poke back.
Yeah. You had a remarkable tenure as Secretary of the Interior in the Trump administration, a cabinet-level position. You did wonderful work opening up our national parks, obviously protecting the majesty of this nation so that Americans could enjoy it without communist balloons hovering overhead. How would Donald Trump be treating this situation?
I don't think President Trump and the Trump administration gets enough credit for what we did on the conservation front. I mean, the Great American Outdoors Act, which I was principally the architect, and that passed. That was the largest investment ever to restore the infrastructure in our parks and forests. So we did a lot on the conservation side. But in my working with President Trump, he can make a decision, and he's not afraid to make a decision. And with Pompeo as the Secretary of State, I guarantee you that would not have been handled the same way. It seems like we're confused. We shouldn't be confused. We should have resolute and look out for the interests of the United States first and foremost, and our allies.
From a military perspective, and you were a Navy SEAL, there seems to be a large intelligence capacity here. Why are we taking the Chinese at their word? Why not bring the balloon down? Mark Esper was just saying this moments ago on CNN. Bring it down and actually assess for ourselves if they are telling the truth here.
Well, as you remember, we had an EP-3 not too long ago that was operating in international space. They escorted that to a Chinese base, then successfully disassembled it, right, and sent it back to us parts later, and got sucked all the information and classified information out of it. So I have no problem. We should have identified this early, and if we were worried about civilian casualties, I can tell you I've operated as a SEAL in the Aleutian chain, not a lot out there. And in beautiful Roosevelt County, I guarantee the great citizens of Roosevelt County would stand in line to shoot that thing down. So, what the administration says and what the truth is, sometimes there's a pretty big gap. I think in this case, they just don't have a hill to stand on their position. But we'll get to the answers. But right now, I don't think we should let that thing hover in Montana or anywhere else. I think we should knock it down.
So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the comments. Would you shoot the balloon down yourself? If you had the opportunity, it will be flying directly over the continental United States. The Pentagon says this sucker is going to be flying right across America, and they ain't going to do anything about it. So how's that tax dollars for you? How's them tax dollars for you? Right? Biggest military ever known to mankind, and we can't even protect ourselves from a teeny little balloon. So embarrassing, so humiliating, this moment. America still is the greatest country on earth, however, because of its people. Certainly not because of its leaders, but because of its individuals. Because we, as a people, wish to fight, and we, as a people, will not stand for this kind of stuff. Would you shoot the balloon down? Again, let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud of America on this channel, and we are proud to fight for her. And it needs people to fight for her now more than ever. So keep fighting. We're fighting right alongside with you. My name is Benny Johnson. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.